Hey, this is Nelson Pereira, the international king of crazy, and the promoter and founder of WrestleFest Portugal. And you are watching ECP Podcast.
What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? Welcome back to Beyond the Bell. I am Chris Page. I'm being joined by my tag team partner, one of my bestest buddies of all time. What's happening, John? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thank you for being a friend.
I have the wrong shirt on for that, but they're both pink. I'm doing well, man. It's another day in paradise. We've got a lot of things happening, lots of moving parts on the channel, lots of projects coming
No
up.
joke, right?
Uh, Today's is going to be a good one, I feel. Our guest, we came across, kind of the same way we come across a lot of independent talent. YouTube's algorithm, A+, several months ago, said, hey, you should probably watch this show. And it actually was coming to us from Portugal. Not only did the show come to us from Portugal, we got overloaded with a lot of talent who showed up in our Twitch chat and gave us context on the shows. It led to relationships with Nelson Pereira, and we've talked to Paulo Cruz, we've talked to Lobo, all out of Portugal.
Lobo.
But today, man, when I tell you, I was happier than a pig in shit when I got the agreeance that we could get this gentleman on the show. We stumbled across him on that very first watch along. I believe it was WrestleFest 2, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah, the first one we watched was WrestleFest 2, yeah.
You've seen him on our channel with the WrestleFest events. You might have seen him just a couple of short weeks ago in RevPro. As we're recording, but and recently another announcement came out that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. It's already come and gone by the time we get the show out, but it's not going to stop me from talking about it. Getting in the ring with Luke Jacobs and Ethan Allen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Damino. Did I say it correctly or did I fuck it up?
No, not at all. You fucked it all up again.
Damiao.
Damiao.
Yeah, I told you I was gonna fuck it up before we even got to start.
Yeah.
I'm not good with pronunciations. That's just
No worries, man.
Just call me the resident idiot, and I'll be all right. How you doing, man? It's good to see you.
I'm doing really good. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a huge pleasure to be here.
Man. It's the pleasure's definitely all ours in this situation. We came across at the top of the show. We came across you randomly through Portugal WrestleFest, and if I'm not mistaken, you were doing a tag team match, and it was one of those matches that John and I were watching and just kind of in a state of awe because of what we were seeing with the athleticism that you carry in the ring, the presentation alone. And then when we found out that you're 19 years old, it was just insane to see what you were doing, how you were getting it done in the ring, and I cannot wait to dive in and talk to you a lot about it. Before we get too deep into the party, though, what we've learned from several people from Portugal and the Portugal scene that we've talked to is that, the scene is on the rise. There was obviously with professional wrestling, it has its ebbs and its flows, its ups and its downs. Portugal in the area was down for quite a bit, and it has started to come back up into prominence. And a large part of that, you gotta kind of have to credit to WrestleFest Portugal. I guess the first question that I've got is kind of the first question I ask everybody. What made you get bit by the wrestling bug, and at what point were you like, all right, I think I want to try this?
Yeah. I think since I remember watching TV, since I was a kid, I always remember watching wrestling from a very, very, very early age, and I remember I have this one specific memory where my mom was watching with me, and she told me that wrestling is fake and they're not really hitting each other. She explained wrestling to me so well that instead of oh, so this is fake. I don't want to watch it anymore. I fell in love with it a lot more. Like when I found out that you could do this and seem so real and bring out so many emotions out of people, I was like, yeah, like, this is my thing, you know. And when I thought about starting wrestling training, I was like 13 or something. I went to see a show here in Portugal that Killer Kelly was going to be on. And I was a huge fan because she was the first Portuguese wrestler in the WWE. I had to see her live. And I went there and I fell in love, you know, and by the next year I was already there. Like at 14 banging on their door, like please, please, please let me train.
So let me ask you this: when you were watching in the earlier years, who were some of the guys that you were watching on TV? What were some of your favorites when you were younger?
Um when I was a young kid, like John Cena was my guy. You
Oh,
know,
I
like
can't see him.
yeah,
I
you
can
He
know,
sees you
but
though.
I can never see him.
yeah, but like not the Super Cena guy. I was a huge fan of like Doctor Thugonomics, you know, because I
Early.
grew up, you know, because I grew up like in a small hood here in Portugal, and I'm super influenced by rap music and like the black community as a whole. So like watching a rapper like on TV beating up bad guys and like rapping about them, I was like, yeah, this is my guy. And I remember at 14, I was like, you know, I want to be the doctor of thugonomics in Portugal. That didn't really work out. I'm not a great rapper, but
It doesn't hurt to have aspirations.
Not at
mm,
all.
not at
Um,
all, not at all.
when so something that we've also think is reality is like a lot of you guys do start younger in on the Portugal scene.
Mhm.
So when you first started training, what did that look like for you? How did you knocked on the door? Was it just one of those situations where you're like, hey man, I'm
Yeah,
interested. Let's see what we can do here.
yeah. I remember I didn't talk to them myself at first. Like my mom was texting them like almost monthly to see if I could start wrestling training, and they didn't respond at all. Because what I didn't know is that I couldn't start until I was 16. So one day I just said, well, fuck it. I'll just go there and they'll have to let me in, I guess. And I knocked on the door and they opened up and they were like, "Oh, so you're the 14-year-old kid?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they looked at me. They said, "You're tall enough. Come on in." And and that was my start. Like me and a huge group of like guys much older than me. There was no other 14-year-old, no other 16-year-old at all. Like I was the only one, like underage guy there, and
The Fed needed a mascot. That's
No, he
fine.
yeah,
didn't.
yeah, yeah. They just took me under their wing and they were like, "Oh, I guess
You,
that's our boy now."
you passed the Six Flags test, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
Get over here, so you got to be this
yeah.
tall to ride the
You have to
ride.
be this tall to get in, and
There
I was
you
like,
go.
I guess I am."
I think it's really interesting to see you start so early. And again, you said you're 19 years old now. You've
Yeah.
been doing this now for about 5 years when you count the training, and you count getting started. How long were you training before you got into the ring? And had your first match, I should say. Probably not got into the ring,
Yeah,
but
I had my first match at 16. Yeah,
fantastic,
yeah.
fantastic. John, you
So you
want to?
had two solid, yeah, you had 2 solid years of forced training before they would allow
Yeah.
you into the ring, which is
And
good.
and COVID. So I had
Right.
2019. I started at the end of 2019. Then like COVID hit in kind of March,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
March
yeah.
2020.
lockdown, and then we came back like at the end of 2020, maybe the beginning of 2021. In 2022, I was having my debut. Yeah.
But that makes it so much wilder because here we are, we're 2 years deep, and in two
Yeah.
years, there's been a lot that you've been able to accomplish, a lot of things that you've been able to do, and as we were talking about before we came on the air, wrestling in Portugal was at a down period before COVID. You guys come back from COVID, and through other conversations, like business starts picking up.
Yeah.
WrestleFest is born. Um, I want to talk to you a little bit about that. We have been able to see.
For sure.
I think we've seen all the WrestleFest shows. The first one we
Mhm.
saw, we watched them a little out of order because I
Yeah,
just said, "Hey, let's watch
it
this one."
happens.
But
Yeah,
the first one, after talking to Nelson, you're involved in Triple Threat, and it was kind
yeah,
of one of the it was the match the way it was billed was like this future stars of Portugal.
yeah.
How did that make you feel to know that you're one of your first big matches on the WrestleFest card? You're being not only are you booked, but you're booked
Yeah,
in a hey these are the future of our business here. How does that
yeah.
make you feel? Because
I was super excited. I was super
yeah,
excited because I already knew Nelson, and before we talked about me being on the show, we didn't really know each other. I knew him, but he didn't knew me. Like he knew I was a wrestler in Portugal, but we didn't even talk to each other. So like I I was just so happy to be a part of something so different and so big in Portugal's like a level of production and also a level of wanting to do this. I like wrestling Portugal has my heart for all eternity because they opened the doors for me in terms of wrestling. But WrestleFest is where I draw the line between yeah. So you like wrestling and you love wrestling because you're actually putting in the money and the time and actually doing things for us, for the wrestlers, for the fans. You're not just happy with what you've got,
with the
and that's
status
okay
quo,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, yeah, and that's okay as well. But like those guys really picked it up a really good notch.
I just think that it's incredible to see. Not only, of course, finding out stuff after the fact. We found out after the fact that cities got involved with this, and that you guys
Yeah,
have won, and that's huge. Like
yeah,
truthfully,
yeah,
that is a big deal when you've got local cities saying, "I want you here."
yeah,
It
yeah,
means that you guys are doing something right. And like I said, we know I'm not trying to put us on a pedestal by any means, but I mean we know talent when we see talent,
mhm,
versus who's hungry and who's passionate about what they're trying to do and who wants it versus people who are
yeah,
going through the motion. There's not been a
yeah,
single match of yours that I've watched, and I've watched several that you probably don't even know about. But there's never a moment where I say to myself, he's just going through the motions. It's because you are there. You're on point with
yeah.
what you're doing. You're checked
Thank you,
into what you're doing, and it shows. It's
thank
not with for some of you guys. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. And opportunities seem to present themselves, but it all starts. I love the fact you said Portugal's got your heart when it comes to professional wrestling, because you're
you. Yeah,
already. We'll get into this in a minute, but you're already branching out. You're doing other things that
yeah,
not only bring the limelight to you, but it also brings it to Portugal as well
hmm,
because it's about time that people wake the fuck up and see there's talent here. Not only is
yeah,
there talent, there's good talent here, and a good piece of what draws me to pro wrestling, the Portugal WrestleFest, is because it throws away the idea of tribalism. It throws away the idea of people can't work together. And you guys, not only do you work together, you work pretty fucking well together. Uh, John, I dominated for like 10 minutes. I'm throwing it over to you. Tag.
Yeah, no worries. So your early involvement with WrestleFest was really your early involvement in wrestling. What was it like to be so young in a training camp like that? And what was hard for you as someone that was 14 years old going into training and doing those things, especially during COVID times? What
yeah.
what were the challenges like for you as a very young man doing this thing that we do when you probably aren't even supposed to be there then?
Yeah. Like I was always a really athletic kid. I always really liked s- sports and anything that dealt with like physical condition. So the physical aspect of wrestling was really like easy for me, and that's kind of patting my own shoulder. But I never really had like a hard time picking up on athleticism or physicality or but I think the hardest part was really establishing myself as someone there, when you're in a room full of grown men with a beard that know what they're talking about. And now I'm starting to learn as well, and I'm starting to get better, and now I'm starting to to get better than some of them, and now I'm starting to get a voice as well. But they still look at me as the young kid that got there.
Hmm.
So I think the hardest part was breaking through that concept of well, I entered as a kid, but I quickly turned into one of you guys now. Like I'm a wrestler now. And I think that was the hardest part, was really like breaking off the kid allegations.
Well, let me
What was
no, hang
that
on.
moment for
Yeah,
you?
you just stole it. Yeah, I was about to say, let me
Yeah,
piggyback. That's
what
it.
was
Yeah.
that moment for you where it clicked just for you even? Maybe the rest of the guys didn't get it, but where did you get that idea in your head? It's like, wait a minute. I am a wrestler. I'm doing this thing and this is what I'm going to do, so I need to be my own voice and my own advocate. What was that
Yeah.
moment for you?
Um I don't really know if I have a specific moment where that happened, but like I think there was a bunch of little moments where I thought to myself, I'm not being heard at all here. And I kind of think I know what I'm saying. So when I started like actually taking control of my own matches and actually setting things up for myself and actually giving my ideas, and I think that was the moment where I started to think, well, uh, I think I'm not in the wrong here. I think I'm actually doing the right thing in speaking my mind, because until then I was really scared even to like say something or even to try to teach the fucking new guy that just came in, and nobody was paying attention to him because we were like a small group that day and we're doing something, and I already knew what we were doing, so I was kind of helping the new guy. I was really scared of doing those type of things, and when I started to realize that, okay, I think I can teach him, kind of. I think that was the moment that I was like, yeah, now it's time for me to actually,
See, I
It
get
was the
that. I
confidence
get.
of skills base.
Well, yeah, I get it
yeah,
100% because you're again not to harp on. You're 19. When I won my first indie world heavyweight championship, we used to call them world titles back in the day.
yeah,
I was 19. I was fresh, and I get it. I 100%. You don't want to rattle cages or offend
at
or
all.
any of that.
Burn bridges or
And
anything like that.
and with your market being as small as it was at the time, like I can see where that would be even difficult. But I also can be very appreciative of the fact that you in your own conscious know that okay, I can help this guy out, and
Yeah,
like it's what I mean. Like it's just it's like real quick growth overall,
yeah.
and it's really impressive to see at such a young age.
And I think I really wrapped my mind around it when I started doing things that never been done, like in the Portuguese scene. Like I went overseas uh, at 17. Nobody had done that in Portugal, going underage to wrestle in another country. Like I've traveled to Spain like a couple of times when I was 18, and that was like something that never been done. Like I'm 19 going to my second RevPro match, and that's something that's never been done in Portugal. So
Breaking
when
fucking
these things
ground.
started to happen, yeah, like I won my first championship at 16 in my first match. So I think that moment as well was when they realized that they could count on me as well. And that was really
It's a
like kind
it's a
of
beautiful fucking
grateful.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I get it
yeah,
because it's like you not only have you proven it to yourself, you're also getting the respect from your peers,
yeah,
and I think it's fantastic to see you breaking ground and being a trendsetter. And you just spoke on it. You took your first overseas trip at 17. What did that look like for you, and
Um,
how did you prepare for that, or did you just say fuck it, man, let's go?
I was not prepared at all. Like I was just going for the fun of it.
How can
We
you
had
be?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's
Like when they told me, I was
you
like,
don't even
well,
know what
I
you
guess
don't
it's
know at that
happening.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah, yeah. I
crazy.
didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. We went to uh, Barcelona, I think, the
Hmm.
first time. And I'm friends with the guys till this day. I love my Barcelona buddies. What they're doing there with now with Lucha Libre Rebellion, I think it's really cool.
Oh,
Great production. You guys should check it out as well.
you just turned me on to a
Lucha
new.
Yep.
Libre
Yep, you just
Rebellion.
turned me on to a new
Yeah.
product. I appreciate you for that.
Um, yeah,
Oh, I
they
love the
have
Lucha
the
Libre brand
Barcelona
anyway.
blacklist. They have the Barcelona blacklist that were in RevPro as well when I was there.
Hmm.
They have some great matches with the Grizzly Young Vets, with the guys from the OTT Tag Champs as well.
Yep.
They're fucking huge and they're gonna break out soon as well. So definitely check them out. And that was my first time like overseas, and it was so much fun because we went as a group, like a group of Portuguese guys going for the first time like overseas, and it was so much fun. We had I think a 8 man or something like that, like a throwaway match, but it was just so much fun.
How much trouble did you get in? Don't answer that.
Hmm.
Don't answer
Yeah,
that.
don't answer that.
I
Don't
said,
answer that.
I said, how much trouble did you get in? Don't answer that.
Ah,
So you, when you get the first trip, obviously it's a fun trip,
yeah,
and you got back into the Portuguese scene. It, what led to RevPro? Like you just mentioned it a minute ago. I was going to save that for just a little bit,
yeah,
but we'll go ahead and shift gears and
um,
talk about it a little bit.
yeah,
From my perspective, like again, you and we don't really know each other. We've only spoken through DMs, and it was just very sporadic. But I always support those who support me. And you were right when we talked about people, invading the chat when we watched the first WrestleFest. You were one of the guys. So
yeah,
like that's supporting us. So when someone supports us, I will always support back. I don't speak to people on a daily basis, but I will share your shit. I will give you engagement. I will do, and I just as I saw that match announcement, I think I shot you a DM, and I was like, holy shit, dude! Like it
yeah,
was
yeah,
either a
yeah, yeah,
DM
yeah.
or it was a verbal. It was out there for the
Something
public.
like that.
But I was
Something
like,
like that.
man, this is fantastic to see.
Yeah,
And not only, and I guess I think a part of it is because I have seen a lot of the work, at least through the WrestleFest, and I have seen some stuff. I can't remember the other Fed off the top of my head right now that I've seen from. There was some stuff that you had done.
it was Wrestling Portugal. Yeah,
Is there another Fed down there? Oh, Wrestle Portugal. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So that was it. I got
yeah,
so excited because again, it's like John's got it. Something's here, and seeing this opportunity for you as a fan, and as just somebody who has watched the work, I'm like, this is it. This is the moment.
yeah,
This is what they need. Not only for yourself, but for Portugal. How did that come about? Obviously, I know Santos was involved in that. I think was it
yeah,
Francisco
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was attached to it as well.
Yeah.
Give me the story. Let's hear it. How did that come about,
Yeah.
and what was your
So
response to it?
David Francisco has been living in London for I think 10 years now, something like that. He's been there a long time. So he got his start in Rev Pro like a couple of years ago, I think. Santos as well has been ripping through
Mm-hmm.
all the indie promotions. Like Santos is a fucking beast. I think that's the guy that like in the next 5 years, if there's gonna be a big name in the Portuguese scene, it's gonna be Santos for sure.
He's a fantastic
Um,
performer.
yeah, yeah, like fantastic performer, and I was super grateful to. So where I met Santos was when he came back to Portugal and he opened a wrestling school.
Okay.
So all of the guys that wanted to learn more saw this as a fucking golden ticket. We're gonna learn from the guy that went that went to Germany, that went to all of those countries where we only dreamed about going. And so I created this friendship with him, and we're friends to this day. And I started talking to to Francisco as well. And I think the trios tournament was coming up, and they were being put as a tag team there. And the RevPro promoter asked them if there was a guy in Portugal that could like hang with them for the trios tournament. And I still remember I was in the subway. I was in the subway, like minding my business. I was getting off college, and I got a DM from David saying, "So, do you want to go to RevPro?" And I was like, "This is real. This is not
You're
real.
like,
This
you're
is not real.
stop pulling my
You're
leg. This isn't
fucking with me.
funny.
You're
Stop playing
fucking
with
with
me.
me." Yeah, I was like, "No, you're fucking with me. Don't do that ever again." Was like, "No, no, I'm like, I'm serious. Do you want to go to RevPro?" And I was like, is that even a question? Like, of course I want to go to RevPro. What's the plan? What are we doing? And he said, so you're in the trios tournament. And I was like, nah, this is not real. And I think until the post came out, I didn't believe it.
You're
Like,
like,
You
I
thought they were
didn't
playing
tell
the long
anybody.
game.
I'm getting punked here. This is who's
I
ribbing
didn't
me.
I didn't tell anybody. I only told my mom about it. Like, mom, I think I'm going to RevPro. And she's like, what? What is RevPro? Wait, let me tell you.
Let me explain how cool that is. Let
Yeah.
me.
Let me
This is.
explain how fucking
Uh,
Jushin Thunder Liger wrestled there and everything.
yeah.
Like, let
Let
me
me
talk
just
to
tell
you.
you how much of a big deal this is, just so
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
aware. Like, I.
And it was super funny. Sorry, like
No,
I
go
had
ahead.
a date in Portugal as well that day, and I told my mom about it, and like, oh, so RevPro is calling, and she was like, oh, but you have a show, and I was like, yeah, but it's not the same thing. And she was like super worried that I couldn't miss on my word that I was gonna do the show in Portugal. I couldn't go to RevPro because come on, you already said you were going to do the show, and I was like, I'm sure they will understand it. Don't worry, but like
Any
you're,
promoter that's worried about your well-being will understand when you have an opportunity to step up into the bigger spotlight and do that, and would want
yeah,
you to. And realistically, all that does is promote the place that you came from on top of promoting you.
yeah,
So if
Hey,
you look good on the show on a big stage, then you're going to make the whole company that birthed you into it look even better. So it's
yeah.
only good publicity. As long as there's nothing, no animosity and no hard feelings for it, it is what it is.
And I'm super lucky that every promoter that I like, unfortunately, had to say no to a show because either the the last Ref Pro show and this one now, they all like understood it fully, and they all were super
Like I said,
happy for me.
they're
And
anybody looking out for you should be, yeah.
absolutely because it's good business the whole way around.
yeah,
It 100% is, and
Mhm.
I there's two things that I want to touch on real quick. First of all, the first time you step foot in the Rev Pro ring, you opened that son of a bitch up like a house on fire. I believe that was the
yeah.
first match.
No, no,
No,
no,
was it the
no, no,
second
no.
match?
It was the second one.
Second
Yeah, it
match,
was the
which
second.
I think
Yeah,
whichever match it was, I just the first clip that I saw of the weekend,
yeah, yeah,
and in my head I said, "That is smart. You just showed the
yeah,
world that the talent level in Portugal off rip within the first five
yeah,
seconds is athletic, knows what the fuck they're doing, and went straight into it. It was great to see. And to see and to know that they called you, you know, like this is where I say like it's to me as an outsider looking in, it's such a big deal because you are putting the light on Portugal. Your performance that weekend is going to make them say, hey, we should probably go look down here just to see what's going on, just to see what the future looks like. Because look at what we just got. And the reaction off of that clip that I saw, I don't know if there was sound on it or not. I could see the crowd. So I watched it several times because I look for different things. I'm looking at you, but I'm also looking to see what kind of reaction it's getting. I'm looking
Me
to read
too. Me
facial
too. I always do.
expressions,
Yeah.
because you can see through fake. I'm looking and I'm seeing nothing but just sheer positivity from it. So whoever suggested that be the start of the match, that was fucking smart, and they deserve a
I
lot of
think it was
credit.
us. Yeah. I like again, not to pat my own shoulder, but I think it was like either me or one of my teammates. And that match was super special because it was against the Barcelona guys.
Mm-hmm.
So having our first match, like we always talked about, oh bro, we need to have a match. We need to make it happen either in Portugal, either in Spain, and it happened in RevPro. So it's like mind blowing
Yeah, how big
for
is that, right?
them. It can get bigger, I think. Like, can get bigger.
How did that weekend go
But
for you? Like, as far as like
that
the
weekend,
knowledge and experience that you gained, like, was you a fly on the wall, or was you more like, hey, let me network?
I
How would that look
think
like?
I think that weekend was everything that I needed because in this past year I was getting a little bummed up with wrestling because like you said, I've been doing this for 5 years and it's easy to get carried away by time and to see things not progressing the way you want and you want them to, you know. So like also with having problems uh, with my personal life and everything like that, I was really bummed out. And when I got the news about RevPro, I was like, this could be either my way into loving wrestling again or my way out, you know. So I went there with I'm gonna enjoy this the the most I can. I'm gonna learn everything I can. I'm gonna take every single drop of anything I can get, you know. So when I found out that I was gonna be wrestling Lio Rush, Slater, and Cameron Kai, I was like, I
What?
couldn't ask for anything better, you know.
It's like, what?
Like it's now or never. It's now or never. It's now or never. And those guys were such cool guys. They gave me so much feedback, and I came back to Portugal with a whole new perspective of what really is wrestling and how it really is done, like in the big leagues. And I think that really helped me as a wrestler because now I know what's the next level, you know?
Yeah.
Because I was really getting a hard time here in Portugal, mainly because I like, so I was at a certain level here, you know, and I didn't know how to go further.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
like
You thought you hit your
I am
glass ceiling.
training here. Yeah, like if I stay in this, I don't really think I'm gonna go much further. And when I came back, I was like, damn, there's so much to fucking unpack here and to learn, you know?
Was it more of a was it before you went, was it a lot more of I feel like a big fish in a little fishbowl, and then when you
Yeah,
saw the wider picture, you're like,
yeah,
"Oh wait. No, my perspective has just been so narrow that I didn't
for sure.
realize there was so much more."
Yeah,
Man, that's a rough thing to deal with. How did you go about the perspective change?
I was super happy with it because I wanted to see how I paired up with those guys. Like, how far am I from these guys? The guys that do this on a daily basis, the guys that do this on fucking TV, the guys that do this in front of thousands and thousands of people. I wanted to see how long would it take for me to get to their level if I was at their level, if I was like steps really, really far away. And what I've learned is that I'm a couple of steps behind them, but I'm not that far behind them. And I have a lot to learn and I have a lot to fucking experience. And it was so great to actually get that experience with those guys because now I know what I have to do, kind of,
You might
you
be a
know?
few steps behind, but you're nipping on some goddamn some heels.
Mhm.
You know.
When one of the hard lessons in the business to really learn is that comparison is the thief of joy, man. You see a lot of people doing a lot of things around you, and you think that you should be doing them yet, but you're not. Well, then go do it. It's still there.
Yeah,
You can still
yeah,
do it.
for
Them
sure.
getting success around you is not you not getting it. It's just them doing their own thing when they're doing it.
Yeah, man, I was
It's
super
a
happy.
hard thing to reconcile in the business.
But that's what I really wanted. Like I really wanted a new challenge. I love learning. I love everything that has to do with getting new information and getting better. You know, and that's really cliche, but I I really enjoy it. Like being better as at something I enjoy. It's something I really like. You know, so seeing how big the fucking ocean of wrestling is, and how much I can take from here and take from there and learn from here and learn from there just like filled me up inside, and I was like, man, I really want to do this more and more and more and more, you know. I really want to get better and better.
Well, just
I'm
think.
glad that you go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I was about to say, just we're talking to Flawless Flames tag team over here in the states. They're young too, and literally, this what you just described is what they're going through right now. They're just their mind is a sponge, and they're absorbing all the information. I think that it's fantastic that this trip over to RevPro kind of reinvigorated you because you are still very young, and the biggest misconception to me about the business is that, people think that it's supposed to happen right now. What we have learned through talking to 40 or 50 of you guys at this point is that, and it draws back to one statement, that if you're not ready for the business when the business is ready for you, you've missed your opportunity. And to know that that trip put the love of the business back into you is phenomenal to hear, because I would have hated to have heard the opposite. And what's so scary, and this is gonna sound like I'm kissing ass, I'm not. I told you, said to you before we went on the air, like, look at where you're at right now.
Mhm.
Think about where you're going to be in 5 years. The WWE ID program has just rolled out. They have got scouts going all over the world, not just here in the States. It's starting here in the States, but I feel like they're going to be branching out into overseas
Yeah,
territory.
probably.
Like
For sure.
there's not, and they're not saying that's the direction you even want to go, but I'm saying in general, like there's so many different avenues, and you're so young, so young. If something doesn't happen in the next 5 years, I'll be shocked. And I say that because we see a lot of wrestling, a lot of independent wrestling all over the globe. We see fantastic talent everywhere. Um, and what we've seen is those who really succeed are the ones who get out there and put the work in.
Mhm.
They go to work, and I think that it's very interesting. Another concept, something that you touched on earlier, and I'm just now getting a chance to circle back around to it. What makes this a little bit more impressive to me as just a guy talking to you is not only are you focusing on your career as a professional wrestler, which is now starting to take off. Let's be fair, but you're
Mhm.
also in college too. You're also getting your education. What's that balance like for you? And then we'll get back into some RevPro stuff, because I will forget to ask that question, and I think that's another aspect that people may not understand. You're
Yeah,
balancing your career, you're also balancing your education.
yeah. So I think college was something I really wanted to do because of my mom, you know. Like coming up from again like this small hood in Portugal where the, the, the people I've met and the people I've dealt with, they didn't really get the chance to even go to college or to finish school or to, you know, get a good life in that sense. So, one thing I told my mom was that I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna finish it up. I I want you to know that my dream is to be a professional wrestler, but I'm gonna get my college done. You know, um, and mainly because wrestling, it's like a shot in the dark. You don't know if it's gonna stick. Like
Mm.
All pro
none of
athletes.
us, none of us have a contract. None of us are made of steel. If the wrong bone breaks,
Mhm.
what am I gonna do with my life?
Yeah.
So I think that's really important as well, like to keep in mind that even though I really love wrestling, I need to be ready if wrestling one day just doesn't work out for me.
That's smart. I mean, it's just smart the
Yeah.
whole way around, and the fact that you're able to balance it both and get it done, it is super impressive. How much longer do you got on school?
I'm finishing up my second year. I got 1 year left, and then I'm
Awesome.
done with it.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Good deal, man. I want to. I
Yeah.
want
Congrats
to. I
on
want to
that for
see.
sure.
I want to see and hear about some of that in the next year or
Mhm.
so, man. I think that's fucking
Okay.
cool. Um,
Thank you.
Before we get to RevPro stuff,
yep.
not only are you balancing school and becoming a wrestler and getting your career off the ground and figuring out all the stuff that goes along with that, but you're also involved in what could arguably be one of the biggest historical resurgences in Portugal. You guys had been historically not a thing in Portugal. There was a whole era of Portuguese wrestling that was just missing. And with WrestleFest, you guys are really bringing that back to the historical, not just the historical landmark, like the sites, the landmarks, and the buildings that historically, like decades ago, held
Yeah.
these wrestling events. But you're bringing a whole resurgence of the business and the industry back to a country that once used to be very popular for it and had fallen away. Since COVID, you guys have brought this resurgence in. What does it feel like to be so young and to be part of this resurgence of a historical aspect of a sport and a passion that you guys had been missing for so long?
It's an honor, and being a wrestling geek as I am, I'm a really big Portuguese wrestling geek, so I know everything about anything. I know facts from since the beginning of days, like in the fucking bull arenas where people
Mhm.
was just like buy tickets to go see those guys like wrestle each other in the 50s, in the 60s, and a little bit after when wrestling started airing on our TV and wrestling became a thing in Portugal again, and everybody was going wild, and that's when when my generation watched it. Um, those two were the big booms in Portuguese wrestling.
Mhm.
Um, but going back to being able to be a part of such an you know, an historic resurgence, as you said, it's an honor because I've been able to wrestle in front of one of the wrestlers that used to do those shows in the 50s and the 60s, and I was able to talk with him, and I was able to share some knowledge with him, and like getting that perspective of those guys, right? Like it's such a gray area in wrestling history, those 50s, those 40s, those 60s.
Mhm.
Like we don't really know much about it. Like we know what they tell us, but we don't really know the reality of it. But being able to be in the same spot where they were, where those guys, those big names were, man, it's really unbelievable.
Have you had a goosebumps moment where you were just kind of walking the
Yeah,
hallways
yeah,
there, being
yeah,
like,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
like wow, just
I think one of my biggest highs in wrestling was in Lisboa WrestleFest
Yeah.
this year. Was the 20-minute tag team match
oh, that's fantastic.
because
Don't get me started. Some of my matches of the
because
year.
because tag team matches in Portugal weren't good at all. Like and dating like not too long ago, like maybe dating 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the tag team matches in Portugal weren't good. Like and they weren't good. They weren't good. They were really bad. Like they were
Mm-hmm.
really bad. And I can say this with a
Healthy
fucking
tag
iron fist.
teams. Healthy
They
tag
were
teams are a sign of a healthy wrestling verse. It
yeah,
just
yeah.
is.
There was no tags. There was anything related to tag team wrestling. And when word got around, like on the inside, that we were doing a 20-minute time limit tag team match, what we've received, the feedback we received from the guys all around across all the promotions were, you're not gonna be able to pull it off.
Excuse me.
You're not.
Oh no,
You're
you
not gonna.
guys not only pulled it off, you kicked the shit out of it.
And they asked us, but it's gonna be a fake like time limit, right? And we were like, no, it's gonna be a real clock on the screen. We're gonna do it. They're like, no, the fuck you're not. And we're like, yes, the fuck we are. And they're like,
And
no.
did.
It did.
Both feet right in it.
And I remember the only guy that believed in us was Nelson Pereira. The only guy that talked to us and said, guys, I trust you this and you're gonna pull it off. So I remember being so nervous, so anxious, so high for this match that when I entered and a huge crowd of people, like 300 or 400 people maybe, greeted us with such a roar, and the match went so well. The the time just kept passing by. Those 20 minutes felt like 2 minutes, and when I got back, I vividly remember just like almost passing out on the floor from not from being tired, but from the emotion. When you have built up so much emotion that when it's over, it's like, I'm dead now.
Yeah, it's that adrenaline dump.
I think that was one of my biggest moments so far, and I was super proud of it. Like,
It's a
You should be.
fantastic match. It's on my match of the year list for independent wrestling. It's up there, and to be fair, that shares the same list of Mike Bailey and Leon Slater
thank you, thank
from January. So that's how good that match was. And for those of you, the link, I'm going to put the link down below. I want you guys to go check it out. Go out of your way to see it. You will not be disappointed because it was insane. I remember when we watched that show back with Nelson. I think my reaction to it was, I ain't even mad. I ain't even mad it went 20 minutes. And it,
No, I could have done 10 more and been okay.
But now, what I didn't understand until now, from your perspective and just chatting with you about it, is that it wasn't expected. People thought that you guys couldn't pull it off.
you. Like,
First,
the day of the show, people were telling us that we were not gonna pull it off.
no, you did.
Like,
So
minutes before we went out, people were telling us that we were not pulling it off.
it's
So it was
fantastic.
just a huge fucking fuck you to everyone. It
It
was
was
so good
fantastic. Yes.
to pull
Wave
it
them
off.
high, sir. You deserve it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's that keep sleeping moment. That's what that is.
yeah, yeah.
That's what that is. Well, as of today, I want to touch on this real quick, or spend the last 10 minutes or so discussing what you've got coming up. And again, as the episode drops, this match has probably already happened. But as of today, you had a drop that you literally 30 minutes before we sat down to do
Yeah.
this. It's you. You're going heading back over to RevPro, and you're getting in there with the boss of the Brit scene right now, Luke Jacobs
That
and
guy to
Ethan
beat.
Allen. I think that this is fucking nuts. Number one, and number two, fantastic. I'm proud of you. I think that that of anybody right now that's over on the market over in Portugal, like this is the time, and you're the right person in the right spot. And I'm definitely not trying to put any undue pressure on you or talk you up or bullshit you. I'm just telling you,
Uh,
this moment right now is one that is it's a historic moment for the Portugal scene. It truly is, because you're getting in there with the best in Britain. And you've already shown that you can
like
hang.
one of the best in the world right now.
Yeah, you've already shown that you can hang. Ethan Allen, fantastic. I mean, prior to his return, I know that he and Luke had teamed up, and I've seen just about everything since his return through Progress and seeking out other shows that he's been attached to. This guy is equally as fucking good, but you've already proven that you can go. You Lio Rush, hello. and Leon Slater, king of North Wrestling in North London. Like you got this. What what was it like when you got that call and you're like, hey man,
I've been
we're gonna put you in there against the Young Guns. Good luck.
and so I got the call like maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. It was super like on top of the day, and I was like, fuck. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to do this. Like my mind was racing. I was like, it's now or never. This is my breakout. Like I thought about everything and every possibility. And then I came to my senses and I was like, okay, so it's happening. And it's once again, like it's unbelievable. I don't think I'm grateful enough for what I've done. Like, I don't really think about it that much, like
Probably
the
for the
things
better.
just, yeah, yeah, because if I think about it, I'm just gonna deep dive and I'm gonna get in my own head and it's gonna get worse. But like, things have just been happening so fast, that I don't really get the time to sit down and think about it. But man, it's just an amazing feeling of how, like, it's showing the work I've put in this, like I've sacrificed so many hours of my life to pro wrestling, so many days, so many months, years of my life to pro wrestling, like weekends where I wouldn't go with my family somewhere because I needed to train or I needed to do this small show in random fucking city, and now seeing that it's paying off, all the tears, all the blood, all the sweat, all the fucking cliches you can talk about, seeing that it's really paying off and I'm really getting that exposure, it's just super grateful, and I really want to thank RevPro for like believing in me again and seeing me as the guy to put in this match, um and it's just been fucking crazy.
What's the reaction been since the match announcement? Like I saw you, like I'm telling you, literally 30 minutes before we got on this call. I saw it go out, and I just went, "What? What's it been like
Yeah.
before we hopped on? Was your phone blowing up or?"
My phone has been blowing up this whole interview. Yeah, my phone has been blowing up this whole interview because I didn't tell anyone. Like once again, I don't really like telling anyone
It's
until it's out.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't like to
Yeah.
jinx it. I don't like to, like, if anything happens, I'm not gonna go through that of, oh, it was gonna happen, but
Oh
I
no,
don't
it
like
didn't
that. I don't
work
like that. I
I
out.
don't
feel
like
you.
that. So man, I'm just really sinking it in right now.
Well, I
But
mean, you're getting in there with the young guns. This is
yeah,
this is a
yeah, and
decorated.
I'm super eager to match their physicality and match their style, and I just really think it's gonna be a really good matchup.
I hope that they don't come in sleeping on you and on what you can get done in that ring, man. This one is gonna be it's gonna be fucking great to see. Like I think I'm actually gonna have to get the RevPro service just so I can
Yeah,
take a peek at
what's
this.
this one?
And well, actually, I also want to see the full. So it's the only way I'll be able to see the full trios matches. I want to see all of it. I want to see the matches in their entirety. Maybe doing that for your spotlight video, like that might be something that I do. But I need to get with them first to make sure that they'd be okay with it. Number one, like
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
there's still things to do with that.
Logistics things.
Yes, absolutely. But you're getting in there with the young guns. Like, what do you want to match their physicality. I think this is fucking huge. This has got to be the biggest moment
Yeah,
of your career thus
for sure,
far, and
for sure.
going into it level-headed and maximizing the minutes and
Hmm.
doing what you do. I think that you're gonna do fucking fantastic, and I
Thank
truly,
you.
truly feel like there's nobody better in the Portugal scene right now that to be in this position that can do so much for not only yourself but for your home base as well. You know, we talked about Golden Boy Santos earlier and what he means to Portugal. Like you're the next guy. You know, Santos is still gonna be
Yeah, yeah,
rocking
yeah.
and rolling,
But
but
like being able to follow his footsteps all the way through, it's been such a journey, and
John, what do you
you
got
know,
for him headed into the showdown with the Young Guns?
Well, I mean, we've seen where you started and where you're at, but you've got a long career ahead of you. Like I said, you're very young, man. You got years and years of this. What do you want to see yourself doing in the next 5 years? What's something that you'd like to do? I mean, you've got the international travel down, but you're just kind of breaking into that. Where do you have your eyes set? What do you look forward to in your future?
I think the next aspiration, maybe for the next 5 years, is Japan for sure. Like it's the fucking goal, you know.
It was on my
Like
mind
more
earlier.
than yeah, yeah, yeah. That like after I got through that phase where I was watching like the TNA and the WWE's, when I found out about Japanese wrestling, my mind was blown, you know, because that was the physicality I wanted in
Yep.
wrestling. That was everything I ever wanted in wrestling. Like guys fucking 1 hour beating the shit out of each other, and I was, this is something. This is something.
We're lobbying now for Best of Super Juniors right now. We're lobbying for that now. So that's what's happening.
So so like in the next 5 years, if I'm lucky enough and if the stars align, if I'm able to go to Japan, like it would be a dream come true for sure.
No, I would love to see that. I would. I have a fondness for the Japanese strong style. I know that Paige also has a fondness for it. So to get to see you in action and knowing how passionate you are about the business and not just being famous with it, but really learning and sitting down at these other trees of knowledge and getting that information and learning about the history of it and really becoming a good wrestler, not just, farming for the fame, but really becoming a good wrestler and bringing that home to show the next generation what they're doing and what they can accomplish. I
Yeah,
love the fact that all you guys working under Nelson and with WrestleFest and Wrestle Portugal are all looking at that like, what can I add into the future of this to ensure the longevity of wrestling in Portugal? And that's been a very big integral thing for you guys. I'm glad to hear that you want to expand that also.
yeah, and I've stated it like a bunch of times, and the guys here know it as well. Like when you ask me what I want to do in the next 5 years, like besides what I where I want to be in my career, I really want to like be the best wrestler in Portugal. Like, that's my main goal for the near future. Like I want to be seen as the guy in Portuguese wrestling, you know. And that's one of my goals as well.
I think
You're on your way,
I
boss.
say you're well on your way. Well on your way. I do think that what you're doing
Mhm.
is fantastic, and being in the position that you found yourself in is not it's not by chance. It was meant to happen, and you know it's something John and I have talked about privately. I've talked to Nelson privately about it. Like it's the same thing I told him. It's about WrestleFest, and I've said it to you. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. About the entire Portugal scene. I say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of you're already moving the ball forward. You're already doing that with WrestleFest. Now we've got this opportunity with you getting some spotlight in RevPro. You've got Golden Boy, who's already dominating the indie scene in the UK as well. So there's light that's there. You know, there's stuff happening. This is just another piece that will help elevate the entire fucking market and the entire fucking industry in Portugal. It is such a there's such a bigger plan for what's going on down there that none of us can see, but we can all sit back and say under there's no uncertain circumstances that Portuguese wrestling does not become successful. There's no way that eyes don't get there and that's really the last piece to the puzzle. The talent's already there, and there's only going to be more that comes forward, and that's where you come in. You are out there. You get the opportunity to be that guy who trained under Lance Storm. And you get to, if you come back or when you come back, you get to be the guy that gets to bestow that knowledge. Think about that, brother, because it's pretty powerful. And it's something that is fucking fantastic. And I cannot wait to see what you do next. I've had a pleasure chatting with you, man. I know it's getting late over there where
Pleasure is
you're
all
at.
mine, guys.
We could
No,
I could easily go a whole nother hour with you,
Oh
but
yeah.
I will. We'll save that and say anytime you want to come back through and chat with us, maybe we catch up in
for sure,
6 months or
for
so.
sure.
I know that WrestleFest
Or if
is.
you want to do the live version of the spotlight show,
Yeah.
you
I'll
wanna
do it.
go
I'll
after
do it. I'll
that.
do
If you
it.
want to, whatever it is that works out best for you, brother. We got lots of opportunity to
Uh,
talk with you. We would love to explore it.
Absolutely, I
Thank you.
definitely want to circle back around. Well, we can get you on the live stream for your spotlight. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
circle
For
back.
sure, for sure.
We'll circle back around because I know WrestleFest is right around the corner again. I talked
Yeah,
to
January.
spoke to
It's
Nelson.
coming up.
Like I had to DM
I'm
him.
excited.
I'll give you this last story and then I'll get ready to wrap it up. So when I hit you up and I was like, then listen, I want to talk to you if you're interested. It's always one of those things because blind messages, you don't ever know how they're gonna go. And when you came back and you said, yeah, and we set the date, I shot you over the graphic. I sent it to Nelson and I was like, by the way, when's the next WrestleFest? And with the graphic, right? So he
Yeah.
immediately responds and was like, oh my God, like super excited. And then he's like, it's in January. It's right around the corner. So that's another big event. And I know that before we wrap up, I know the tag team tournament is a big thing. It's
Yeah.
ongoing. Do you know, or is there anything that you can tell us about the
Yeah.
show in January? Let's get a plug for that
Yeah.
for sure, because
Yeah.
I'll clip that up real quick.
I have two news. One of them is bad, one of them is good.
Okay.
I have the bad news is that I'm not gonna be a part of the tag league, unfortunately,
Oh,
because of matching dates. I can't be doing the tapings for the tag league.
While
But
that's sad,
what's
what's
while
the
that?
that's
good
sad,
news?
in January there is gonna be new tag team champions, and there is gonna be the first tag team champions in Portugal. So that's huge.
Fantastic to hear. Okay. So that makes sense. He was like, "We're taping something, and I will let you
Yeah,
know." So I'll keep that on the hush hush.
yeah.
Well, by the time the episode comes out, it's too
Yeah, by
late.
the time this is out, it
Yeah,
might
yeah.
already
By
have
the
been a
time it's out,
thing.
it might already be out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be well on its way, for sure. Listen, I sincerely appreciate the time,
Pleasure is all mine.
so I'll get with you here in the next couple of days and give you some dates. As a matter of fact, you just give me dates that you're available, and
All the dates.
Yeah.
we'll work it around your schedule because it'll be if it's not on a regular stream date, we'll do it as a bonus show. We'll make something work. We'll get you there for sure. Love to have you back. Is there anything that you would like to say to the viewers out there?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for having me, and it was a great conversation, and I'm super ready to be here again.
Fantastic news. John, before we get out of here, right above him, guys, you're going to see over on Instagram. It's at you see. I'm it's right there. I'm not going to botch your name again. It's not going to happen.
Damiao.
Damiao.
Dot WP on Instagram, underscore WP on X. Guys, if you want to continue to follow this journey, and I'm telling you now, you're going to want to watch. You're going to want to watch and
It's
see
gonna
what
be a good
happens.
one. It's gonna be a good one.
You want to keep up with what's going on, all things.
Mhm.
You might want to follow those links. Hit the follow. Easiest way to help independent wrestling is follow, liking, sharing, retweeting, engaging. It's super simple. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. and you're on social media anyway. And don't fucking tell me you're not, because you're
That's
lying.
right.
You're lying if you're not. Hit the buttons, do the things, support. It's the easiest way to do it. John, I'm gonna let you say your goodbyes, and go ahead and take us home.
Like he said, the easiest thing to do to support independent wrestling is to like, subscribe, share the stuff. Maybe you can't afford a ticket to the show across the world. Maybe you can't buy a T-shirt from every wrestler that you'd like to see, but you may know somebody that can. And if you share it out to them, they may find their new favorite wrestler in the entire industry on the whole planet. And it all leads back to you just taking that moment, like, share, subscribe the links, do the thing, drop the savage elbows right there on the ding bell, get behind the curtain with us. You always know what we got going on back here. We got all sorts of things back here going on, new things down the pipeline, new shows, new guests, new conversations about wrestling all the time. Don't miss out. Get back here. As always, guys and gals, we love each and every one of your faces, and we'll see you next time.